Hi, my name is Allie Fisher, and today I will be presenting on restrictions on religion in China. So just to start with a little overview of what is going to be presented today. First, we're going to start by discussing the history of religion in China, going back to the before Christ eras. Then we're going to talk about China religion in recent years, atheism, which is the official religion in China, the 5 accepted religions in China, how the government affects religion, the different banned religions in China, media and religion, and how this all connects to Etche global awareness. Introduction. So to start, I wanted to give a little quote by Karl Marx. Religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of the heartless world, the soul of the soulless conditions. It is the opium of the people. I thought this quote really represents China religion very well, as it is an important part of their culture, even though many religions are banned. So, religion in China is a very complex topic with multiple layers. Atheism is the official religion of the Communist Party, and to join the Communist Party, you must accept atheism. 5 other religions are recognized in China, and they will be discussed later on, which means that a lot of other religions are prohibited. And in China, the Chinese government intensely monitors religion. Starting with the history of religion in China. China has had religious practices which document back to 7,000 years ago. People first worshipped personifications of nature, which include storms, the crops, etc. This then translated into concepts like wealth and fortune. Scholar Harold M. Tanner states, "The gods, spirits, and ancestors could affect the crops, the weather, childbirth, the king's health, warfare, and so on. It was therefore important to sacrifice to them." These beliefs were created due to how natural phenomena scared humans. This eventually transformed into the idea of gods that would protect them, creating religion. Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism were the first official religions founded in China, all around 500 BCE. Eventually, during the Qin dynasty, which was 2021 to 206 BCE, all religion was banned. Religious and philosophical works were burned, legalism was the official philosophy, and harsh punishments were given for breaking laws. Soon after the Qin dynasty fell, Han dynasty took its place and legalism was eventually abandoned. Confucianism was then the new state religion and continued growing. In the 1st century, Buddhism arrived through the Silk Road, which was a trade route, becoming much more popular. In the Tang dynasty, Buddhism was the primary religion, while Manichaeism and Christianity were also developed. Buddhism and Christianity will be discussed later on. Manichaeism is where everything is either good or bad in the world. The last successor of the throne, Xuanzang, rejected Buddhism and made Taoism the state religion. He first encouraged all religions, but Buddhism was a dividing force and was soon condemned. This led to all Buddhist nuns and priests to be persecuted and murdered. Soon after, all religions were then prohibited, causing their nuns and priests to also be persecuted. Taoism was the only accepted religion at this time. Shifting more towards religion today, the next emperor, Xuanzang II, ended the persecutions soon after and restored religious tolerance. Following these dynasties, the ones that led up to present day, continued to change what religion was allowed and had different experiences in the development of religion. In 1966 to 1977, religion was almost eradicated in China due to the Cultural Revolution. Religion in China today. According to JACA, China currently recognizes 5 religions to be of practice. These religions are Christianity, Taoism, Buddhism, Catholicism, and Islam. China is primarily dominated by atheism due to the Communist Party, who only accepts atheism as their religion. Buddhism and Taoism are most prominent in China, but many religions are considered banned. The Religious Affairs Bureau is put in place to monitor religion and enforce laws. For example, Falun Gong is heavily monitored in China. Confucianism is still present in China, but now it is considered more of a philosophy rather than religion. Looking at the graph, you can see that Chinese folk religion or unaffiliated takes up most of the graph, but Buddhism and Taoism take up the other 2 largest parts, following after Christianity and Islam with only 2.53% and 0.45%. But this graph was taken in 2014, so those numbers may have changed a bit. Now we are going to start by discussing atheism and what it is. Atheism is the disbelief or lack of belief in the existence of God or gods. It was created in the 5th century BC by Dioscorus of Melos. The Chinese Communist Party is officially atheist, which means that it restricts its 90 million party members from holding religious beliefs, which takes up a large chunk of the Chinese population. Next up is Christianity, one of the 5 religions that are allowed in China. Christianity is based on the teachings of Jesus the Nazareth. Christianity appeared in the 7th century in the Tang Dynasty, but it did not become popular until mid-19th century. It currently is the fastest growing religion in China. A quote from Albert is, "China has witnessed a religious revival over the past 4 decades, in particular with the significant increase in Christian believers accounting for 5% of the population." Taoism, or Taoism, is the next religion we are going to discuss. It contributed to the folk religion of the people. It is considered both a philosophy and a religion. As I said earlier, it also was brought in around 500 BC. This practice has also given birth to Tai Chi, which is also known as martial arts. It focuses on genuineness, longevity, health, immortality, and vitality. And as you see in the picture, it is also the creator of the yin-yang sign. Moving on, we are going to discuss Buddhism. Buddhism became prominent in the 1st century due to the Silk Road, which was a trading route. Buddhists believe in reincarnation. The word Buddha, which obviously Buddhism comes from, means enlightened one. Buddhism believes in 3 universal truths. Nothing is lost in the universe, everything changes, and the law of cause and effect. There's also 4 noble truths that they believe in, which are: suffering exists, there is a cause to suffering, there is an end to suffering, and to end suffering you must follow the 8-fold path. There's also an eightfold path that Buddhists believe in, but we are not going to discuss that at this time. And a popular quote that Buddhists believe in is, "Everybody is doomed to die," which is very controversial and is specifically denounced by Taoists. The next accepted religion in China is Catholicism. Catholic missionaries introduced it in the 16th and 17th centuries. Catholics believe in God's objective existence, God's interest in individual human beings who enter relations with God. They believe in prayer and immortality of the soul. They practice their religion through the Bible, which is inspired, error-free, and the revealed Word of God, according to them. In Catholicism, baptism is necessary for salvation. Overall, in China, Chinese Catholics are extremely devoted to their religion. The final accepted religion in China is Islam. Islam was introduced to China around 600 AD. It is known as the religion of the Muslims, a monotheistic faith revealed through Muhammad as the prophet of Allah. Islam believes that God is the creator of all things, all-powerful and all-knowing. He has no offspring, no gender, no race, etc. The Islam religion overall has a very small population in China. Finally, we are moving on to government and religion in China and how government affects religion. Overall, the Chinese government heavily monitors religion. It is monitored by the Religious Affairs Bureau, or SARA. They work for the Communist Party of China, and they are charged with overseeing the operations of China's 5 sanctioned religions. This means that they only allow the 5 sanctioned religions and will persecute anyone from outside religions if they are caught. This bureau was founded in 1950. Religion is monitored in China because China is a communist state in which atheism is the primary belief, and as we learned earlier, atheism is the rejection of the belief that any deities exist. This leads us into the banned religions in China. Really, all religions are banned in China aside from the 5. Especially Falun Gong and Uyghurs are monitored though. There are many consequences if caught practicing one of these banned religions. You could be sent to a detention camp or be persecuted. These religions are enforced by officials and are spied on from different media. For example, there's facial recognition systems on ATMs, security cameras, and social media in order to identify people practicing these illegal religions. Now, you may ask, why are these religions even banned? Essentially, the party state has banned more than a dozen such faiths on the grounds that adherents use religion as a camouflage, defying their leading members, recruiting and controlling their members, and deceiving people by molding and spreading superstitious ideas and endangering society. So, this basically means that the Chinese government, specifically the Chinese Communist Party, is afraid that these religions will revolt against them and cause problems. As mentioned earlier, one of the banned religions in China is Falun Gong. Falun Gong began during the end of Qigong fever. They practice a moral philosophy centered around truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance, which is similar to Buddhist tradition. Falun Gong is a form of spiritual Qigong practice which involved meditation and energy exercises. So clearly, it is very dangerous to the government. It was first taught by Li Hongzhi in China in 1992. Over 10,000 people amassed to protest the government after they wrote an article criticizing Falun Gong in April 1999. The government then deemed the group dangerous and that they could obstruct peace, and that is when the ban began. Another banned religion in China is the Uyghur. Uyghurs can be considered a religion as well as a group of people, though. Uyghurs identify as Sunni Muslims. Though it is not technically a banned religion, the Chinese Communist Party is banning Uyghurs as a group. They speak a Turkish language. China government says that they pose a threat to cultural and religious traditions. Essentially, Uyghurs will not conform to China's wants, and the Chinese government does not like that. The topic of Uyghurs brings us in to media and religion in China. Media is extremely censored in China. Writers are required to make sure that they only write positive things about the government. All things they write have to be approved by the government before they're allowed to publish it. Individuals are also not able to Google information about banned religions or access certain articles about other subjects due to something called the firewall, which blocks a bunch of articles. Media in China also pressures legislation, policy implementation, and the mobilization of collective activism. So essentially, the Communist Party does not want to be challenged by anyone, whether that be someone from a group or a different country. Media is also used as a technique to monitor citizens. This is seen in the Uyghurs. Currently, Uyghurs are being documented using facial recognition. This facial recognition is solely based on racial profiling. So essentially, they are using security cameras, ATM cameras, to keep records of their comings and goings for search and review in order to catch them practicing their religion in an illegal space. These Uyghurs who are being persecuted for practicing their religion are sent into camps that are very similar to the concentration camps in Nazi World War. Finally, we are brought to how it all connects to Etche Global Awareness. Overall, learning about other cultures provides the opportunity to learn about other perspectives, as I have learned how the Chinese individuals may feel when they are restricted from exercising their freedoms. I could not imagine not being able to go to church freely or look up whatever I needed on the internet with no firewall. Continuing on, bans on religion prevent people from practicing their personal beliefs, which affects their overall freedom. This also resonated with me in a way, as in America, I didn't realize how free we actually are compared to some citizens in China. Censorship on media, whether it be regarding religion or not, is unethical and goes against personal rights. And finally, the Communist Party in China exerts power over other groups, which diminishes their power in both personal and public decision making. In conclusion, the Chinese Communist Party in China is extremely corrupt for enforcing such brutal restrictions on citizens. Though there are 5 religions allowed, this does not account for the diversity China provides. Furthermore, media in China is overly censored and the firewall should be diminished. Some necessary information could be withheld from the Chinese citizens in a life or death situation and they would not even know. Regarding religion, the current Uyghur situation is extremely inhumane and needs more recognition in world news, as no group should be treated unequally. Overall, religion and media in China are both extremely restricted. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you enjoyed my presentation on restrictions on religion in China.